morning and salam Malaysia Madani. You're watching News at 10 with me, Brandon Nepal. Our top stories tonight. Highest level discussions should include technological competition. And also, Education Ministry plans to recruit more teachers from April to June. He reiterated that unfettered competition must give way to spirited. Technological competition should be one of the principal agenda items for discussion at the highest levels, on par with discourses on security and general economic matters. In stressing this, Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim said, with the current race centred around cutting-edge technology, as demonstrated in the competition in the semiconductor industry, the rivalry to be ahead in this could take either a productive or destructive turn. He reiterated that unfettered competition must give way to spirited collaboration.
The theme in uncertain world, solidarity. On the one hand, we need to recognize that countries will always seek to protect their intellectual property rights and try to stay ahead on the competition. On the other hand, we need to establish certain guardrails so that the competition does not lead to bifurcation in the technological world, one that will raise costs and impede progress.
The Prime Minister was speaking during a plenary session at the Boao Forum for Asia Annual Conference 2023 BFA 2023 in Hainan. Datuk Seri Anwar said Malaysia has introduced the Malaysia Madani concept as an expression of desire to forge the country's path based on its own mould, as it creates a humanistic nation in line with its civilizational values. It has become a national philosophy which centered on 6 core values: sustainability, prosperity, innovation, respect, trust, and compassion. In sharing his thoughts on how to achieve solidarity and cooperation for development, the Prime Minister said the concept of democratic accountability should prevail rather than just trumpeting the slogan or term democracy, which has been used as a means of pigeonholing countries according to rather arbitrary standards.
To my mind, democratic accountability enjoins on leaders to be accountable to the people across the board, providing improved standards of living, transparency in the decision-making process, and essentially the overarching practice of good and effective governance.
Meanwhile, Datuk Seri Anwar said ordinary citizen with the burden of having to put food on the table and the tangible and pressing uncertainties faced must also not be forgotten. According to the International Labour Organization's Global Wage Report 2022 to 2023, wages and the purchasing power of households have dented considerably due to COVID-19 and global inflation. In light of this, Asia should work closely together in a spirit of cooperation and solidarity, striving towards reducing inequality, promoting social justice, and enhancing standards of living for all. Meanwhile, the Prime Minister arrived in Beijing to continue his official visit to China to advance the strategic partnerships between the two countries. The special aircraft carrying Datuk Seri Anwar from Hainan landed at the Beijing Capital International Airport at 4:30 p.m. local time. Present to welcome him was China's Vice Foreign Minister Sun Weidong. Datuk Seri Anwar will meet China's President Xi Jinping tomorrow. On Saturday, the Prime Minister will be accorded an official welcoming ceremony at the Great Hall of the People by the newly appointed Chinese Premier Li Qiang, followed by a bilateral meeting. Both leaders will also witness the signing of 3 MOUs to deepen economic ties between the two governments. UMNO has proposed the name of Malacca UMNO Chairman Datuk Seri Abdul Rauf Yusof for appointment as the 13th Malacca Chief Minister. UMNO President Datuk Seri Dr. Ahmad Zahid Hamidi said he had submitted the proposal to Malacca Yang di-Pertua Negeri Tun Muhammad Ali Rustam.
mengutus warkah kepada Tuan Yang Terutama Yang Di-Pertua Negeri Melaka untuk menerima peletakan jawatan Yang Amat Berhormat Datuk Seri Utama Ketua Menteri, ya. Dan dengan ini parti mencadangkan melalui warkah itu Yang Berhormat Datuk Seri Rauf Yusof sebagai Ketua Menteri yang baru.
This announcement was following Datuk Seri Sulaiman Mat Ali's resignation as the 12th Malacca Chief Minister yesterday. Asked why Datuk Seri Sulaiman resigned, Datuk Seri Ahmad Zahid said it was due to health factors. On whether the Malacca State Executive Council lineup would be reshuffled to include Pakatan Harapan representatives, the Barisan Nasional chairman hoped this could be done in the spirit of the National Unity Government at the federal level. Earlier today, Malacca State Secretary Datuk Zaidi Johari said that the person appointed as the state's new chief minister will be sworn in tomorrow. The Dewan Negara was told today that the Health Ministry MOH is holding discussions with the Public Service Department JPA to absorb contract medical personnel to the permanent staff without pensions. Health Minister Dr. Zaliha Mustafa said this is to deal with the workload that exceeds the capacity of available resources, as well as to reduce the burden of the pension scheme borne by the country at the moment, which amounted to 29.1 billion ringgit in 2021.
Jadi kita mungkin kena memikirkan jalan keluar. Jadi kita telah mengusulkan juga, contohnya di antaranya ialah mengambil pekerja-pekerja kontrak ini secara tetap tetapi tidak berpencen. Ini adalah di antara satu perkara yang mungkin kita boleh fikirkan, ya, sebab dengan keadaan begitu petugas kita ada perk, ya, ada yang dapat itu ada perkara yang juga pekerja-pekerja yang dalam penjawatan tetap dapat. Contohnya kadang mereka boleh mungkin ambil loan rumah dan sebagainya. Jadi
the Ministry of Education, MOE, has identified 6 core subjects for which additional teachers are required in schools. Deputy Education Minister Lim Hui Ying said the subjects are Bahasa Melayu, English, Islamic Studies, Design and Technology, Visual Arts Education and History.
Kita memang tahu kenyataan, kita memang ada kekurangan guru. Saya pun sudah nyatakan tadi, sehingga Januari 2023 kita memang ada kekurangan ramai guru. Kita ada kekurangan seramai, kita ada kurang hari itu saya telah nyatakan kita telah mengambil lebih kurang 22,327 guru melalui kaedah one off. Tapi kita telah pun mengadakan satu rancangan untuk mengambil pengambilan guru dalam perancangan dalam bulan April sehingga Jun kita akan mengambil guru pun secara daripada universiti luar.
According to Lim, the recruitment of teachers depends on vacancies and the current needs of subject options. On the fate of graduates who failed the Education Service Commission SPP interview, Lim said they could reapply through My SPP 6 months after the results are posted on the official SPP portal. She noted that unsuccessful candidates can continue to apply until they reach the age of 45. The Ministry of Higher Education, MOHE, will submit another application for allocation under the 4th rolling plan of the 12th Malaysia Plan to resume the My Brain 15 program. Deputy Minister Datuk Muhammad Yusof Abdal said the ministry would resubmit the application for the postgraduate scholarship program after it was rejected under the first 3 rolling plans. Explaining further, Dr. Muhammad Yusof said the efforts to resume the program are taken after considering its positive impacts and achievements.
Memang antara faktor yang menjadi halangan kita ialah keuangan. Ini yang kita semua sudah maklum. Tapi itu bukan terhad pada sebabnya, sebab ada juga yang berhubung kait dengan kaedah program yang kita tawarkan itu yang kadang-kadang boleh menyebabkan kita merasakan ada seketika itu dia bersesuaian, ada ketika yang dia tidak bersesuaian, ada juga yang kita kaji kerana tidak boleh pasarannya. Makanya ada beberapa faktor yang penyebab kepada kenapa kita tidak dapat teruskan. Walau bagaimanapun, kita memang di peringkat KPT ini senantiasa mencari kaedah untuk bagaimana cara kita menambah baik penajaan dari segi pendidikan, terutama peringkat pendidikan tinggi.
He said the My Brain 15 program was open to various fields of study at the master's and PhD levels and was implemented from 2010 until the last offer made in 2016. And still ahead, sale of puffer fish with dangerous toxins prohibited. Stay tuned. The government today launched an affordable broadband home internet with a speed of up to 30 Mbps at 69 ringgit per month, about 22% cheaper than the current market price. Communications and Digital Minister Fahmi Fadzil said the rolling out of the package is in line with the Unity government's commitment to lower the cost of living of target groups. Fahmi said the Unity Fixed Broadband Integration Package for Home Internet is an initiative of the Ministry in collaboration with fixed broadband service providers.
Ada beberapa lagi yang kita akan usahakan, tapi kita akan umumkan dari semasa ke semasa. Saya dah umumkan sebelum ini hasrat saya dengan pihak kementerian untuk membantu menyelesaikan masalah network sharing. Ini yang berlaku bila kita pergi dari satu tempat ke satu tempat tapi mengalami masalah drop call akibat daripada isu antara menara. Jadi ini saya harap dapat diselaraskan di antara semua syarikat-syarikat telekomunikasi menjelang bulan Jun 2023.
He said the package is offered to those in the B40 group, disabled persons, senior citizens, as well as government pensioners, including Malaysian Armed Forces veterans, police retirees, and Malaysian Maritime Enforcement Agency retirees. He added the initiative also proves the government's commitment in ensuring more comprehensive digital connectivity at lower prices in line with the Malaysia Madani concept. Those eligible for the package could apply directly with the 5 participating companies from today, and it will be available beginning April. Puffer fish, which contain dangerous toxins, are not allowed to be sold in Malaysia. Health Director General Tan Sri Dr. Nur Hisham Abdullah said the sale of puffer fish is controlled under the Malaysian Fisheries Development Authority Act 1972. Elaborating further, Tan Sri Dr. Nur Hisham also said that Section 13 of the Food Act 1983 prohibits the sale of any food that has in or upon it any substance which is poisonous, harmful, or otherwise injurious to health. He said this in the wake of reports that an elderly woman in Kluang, Johor, died of poisoning last Saturday while her husband was still being treated in the intensive care unit after consuming puffer fish. The Health DG said data from the Disease Control Division of the Health Ministry showed that 58 puffer fish poisoning incidents involving 18 deaths were reported in the country between 1985 and March this year. He added that the Ministry's Food Safety and Quality Division had produced educational materials to increase public awareness on the dangerous toxins in puffer fish. A survey conducted by the division in 2019 showed that 86% of the respondents, which comprised the public, fishmongers, fishermen and cooks, had sufficient knowledge on the danger of consuming puffer fish. Bank Rakyat Group has announced a dividend of 15% with payout totaling 426.77 million ringgit payable from today to its 799,511 members. Now, the group's better performance was further supported by higher fee-based income and collection from charge-off financing recovery, which improved to 440.79 million ringgit from 355.19 million ringgit previously.
Bank Rakyat masih lagi mengekalkan prestasi kadar dividen berjumlah 2 digit untuk tempoh lebih 30 tahun. Syabas dan tahniah atas pencapaian dan prestasi cemerlang yang ditunjukkan oleh Bank Rakyat setelah hampir lebih daripada 3 dekad.
The group demonstrated discipline and efficiency in cost management, which were reflected in its healthy cost-to-income ratio of 39.79% and was much lower than industry average of 44.20%. It has also recorded a higher profit before tax and zakat of 1.70 billion ringgit for the financial year ended 31st December 2022, compared with 1.63 billion ringgit in the previous year. The increase in profit was driven by the bank's strong fundamentals and its focus on core activities despite the economic uncertainties post-pandemic. Permodalan Nasional Berhad PNB wholly owned unit trust management company Amanah Saham Nasional Berhad ASNB has announced a total income distribution payout of 1.64 billion ringgit for the financial year ending 31st March 2023. Now, in a statement today, it said Amanah Saham Bumiputra 2 ASB2 declared a total income distribution payout of 0.62 billion ringgit, equivalent to 5.00 cents per unit to 513,244 unit holders. Amanah Saham Malaysia ASM declared a total income distribution payout of 1.02 billion ringgit, which is equivalent to 4.50 cents per unit to 575,351 unit holders. As of 28 March, ASB2 recorded a net realized income of 536.09 million ringgit, whilst ASM recorded 784.83 billion ringgit. PNB said both funds derive their incomes from realized gains, dividends, as well as other income contributions from domestic and international investments in an environment of high inflation and heightened global recessionary fears. The funds have also benefited from their portfolio diversification strategies with increased allocation to fixed income as yield curves have shifted up. The distribution declared by these funds will be automatically reinvested into unit holders' accounts on 1st April. Taiwan's president arrives in New York in sensitive U.S. stopover. That and more coming up in our foreign segment. Taiwan's President Tsai Ing-wen arrived in New York on a sensitive U.S. stopover, vowing en route to not let external pressure prevent the island from engaging with the world, after China threatened retaliation if she met U.S. House Speaker Kevin McCarthy. China, which claims democratically ruled Taiwan as its own territory, has repeatedly warned U.S. officials not to meet Tsai, which is on her first U.S. stopover since 2019, seeing it as showing support for the island's desire to be seen as a separate country. China staged major war games around Taiwan in August, when then U.S. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi visited Taipei. Taiwan's armed forces say they are watching for any Chinese moves when Tsai is abroad. Tsai is en route to Guatemala and Belize, two of the few countries that recognize Taiwan diplomatically. She will stay in New York until Saturday and will also visit Los Angeles on her return from Central America. She is expected to meet McCarthy in California, although this is not officially confirmed. Taiwan's de facto embassy in the U.S. confirmed Tsai's arrival in New York and said none of her events were open to press or the public during her stopover there. Taiwan has gradually lost official recognition from more countries as they switch to Beijing. Honduras shifted loyalty on Saturday, leaving just 13 with formal ties with Taiwan. Beijing says Taiwan belongs to one China and as a Chinese province has no right to state-to-state ties, but Taiwan disputes this. Philippine rescuers search the smoldering ruins of a burnout ferry for any survivors or more victims of a fire that swept through the inter-island vessel, killing 29 people, including a 6-month-old baby. Investigators have yet to identify the cause of the fire that started at about 11 p.m. yesterday off the southern island of Basilan, when many passengers were asleep in air-conditioned cabins on the ferry's lower deck. There were conflicting figures of the number of people on the ferry, which officials said was not overloaded. The Coast Guard said 225 people, including 36 crew, were rescued. Governor Haj Jiman Hataman Saliman said 11 people, including 3 children, drowned after jumping off the burning ship, while 18 died in the blaze on board. Commodore Rejat Mafe, Coast Guard chief in the Mindanao region, told Reuters there was chaos after the spreading fire roused people from their sleep and the 18 victims found on board were totally burned. The Philippines, an archipelago of more than 7,600 islands, has a poor record for maritime safety, with vessels often overcrowded and many aging ships in use. In May last year, at least 7 people died in a fire on a high-speed ferry carrying 134 people. International Monetary Fund Managing Director Kristalina Georgieva has called for cooperation and solidarity to guide the world economy to a safer future while delivering a speech to the Boao Forum for Asia BFA Annual Conference 2023 that opened on the day. The IMF chief said the world economy has been in choppy waters for quite some time, experiencing shock upon shock. She expects 2023 to be another difficult year with global growth falling below 3%. She said cooperation has already transformed the global economy by deepening trade integration, which has boosted incomes and living standards across the world. The IMF chief noted over the past 40 years, the world economy has tripled in size, with emerging markets and developing economies quadrupling and rich countries doubling. Georgieva also said countries need to work together to invigorate international trade in an equitable way for more people to benefit from globalization and diversify supply chains based on economic logic. The BFA Annual Conference 2023 is scheduled to last until Friday in Boao, a coastal town in Hainan, under the theme An Uncertain World, Solidarity and Cooperation for Development Amid Challenges. This year's conference has fully resumed offline meetings. Coming up in sports, Verstappen expects to continue strong starts to season at Australian GP. Stay with us. But first, Youth and Sports Minister Hannah Yeoh has confirmed that she only received 2 application letters from the state governments of Kedah and Perak for allocations to upgrade stadium football pitches to Zion Zoysia grass. However, she said the Youth and Sports Ministry, KBS, needed some time to go through the contents of the letters. Elaborating further the matter, the minister said a second meeting with the relevant state executive councillors, excos from all states, will be held in the near future to get the latest feedback from them whether they are still interested or reject the offer made by KBS. Yeoh said the states interested need to ensure that initial maintenance, such as ensuring that the pitch infrastructure is in good condition, is carried out before the matching grant funds are handed over to them. In January, KBS offered allocations through matching grant funds to all state youth and sports excos to upgrade the football pitches to the Zion Zoysia type grass on one selected stadium, with the annual maintenance to be borne by the respective state governments. The high-quality pitch at the Sultan Ibrahim Stadium, Iskandar Putri, is clearly one of the factors that helped the Harimau Malaya win both of their recent Tier 1 international friendlies. Former national striker Safizali believes that good pitch conditions, such as at the sacred ground of the Super League champions Johor Darul Ta'zim JDT, are able to boost the performance of the national squad and record victories in the matches they play in. Malaysia, guided by South Korean coach Kim Panggon, started the friendly action campaign by overcoming Turkmenistan 1-0 on 23rd March before closing the FIFA international matches window with a 2-0 victory over Hong Kong on Tuesday. Both matches were played at the Sultan Ibrahim Stadium. Meanwhile, Safi believes the quality of local players such as Muhammad Akhyar Abdul Rashid and Muhammad Faisal Abdul Halim is comparable to the naturalized players fielded, including Paulo Josue and Enric Dos Santos in the two friendly matches. Safi, who is also PFAM president, said that although Muhammad Akhyar did not play much at the club level, his experience playing with Harimau Malaya, including the previous high-intensity playing style, really helped him adapt well with the national team. And in motorsports, Formula One champion Max Verstappen is still recovering from a stomach bug that affected his race in Saudi Arabia and is looking forward to a break after Sunday's Australian Grand Prix. Now, the Dutchman finished runner-up behind Red Bull teammate Sergio Perez at Jeddah despite feeling ropey through the race weekend. Although feeling a lot better since Saudi and optimistic about Melbourne, Verstappen told the media at Albert Park he was looking forward to the unusually long 3-week break before the fourth race in Baku. With Verstappen having won the first race in Bahrain ahead of Perez, Red Bull are well clear in the championship standings and hopeful of ending a victory drought in Melbourne, dating back to Sebastian Vettel's 2011 win. Verstappen, bidding for a hat-trick of F1 championships, was forced to retire in last year's race as Red Bull struggled with reliability early in the season, before ultimately dominating. The car is decidedly in better health than the same period last year, even if a drive shaft failure during qualifying in Jeddah condemned Verstappen to starting 15 on the grid. International Olympic Committee spokesperson Mark Adams said that any decision on the return to international competition of Russian and Belarus athletes needs to be done in a timely fashion. Adams was speaking a day after IOC President Thomas Bach announced that guidelines for their return to world sport had been issued. Athletes from Russia and Belarus, Moscow's ally, were banned from most international competitions last year following Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Yet the Lausanne-based IOC has issued guidelines to allow for their return to world sport. The IOC cited human rights concern for Russian athletes and the current participation of Russians and Belarusians in some sports as reasons for the decision. They will do so as neutral athletes, without a flag, emblem or anthem. The guidelines have angered not only those in favor of a continued blanket ban of Russian and Belarusian athletes. Russia is also unhappy, saying any move to deprive athletes of their national symbols is discriminatory. The IOC rejected claims by the International Boxing Association that the Olympic body had misused information regarding boxing officials. The IOC suspended the IBA in 2019 over governance, finance, refereeing and ethical issues and did not involve it in running the boxing events at the 2021 Tokyo Olympics. And that concludes this evening's News at 10. Our top story, highest level discussions should include technological competition. Join us again at 12:30 tomorrow afternoon for the updates at noon on TV2. And before we go, we would like to announce that beginning 1st April, our evening bulletin will now be on air at 8:30 p.m. on saluran Berita RTM. Till then, it's lights out. I'm Brendan Paul. Good night.